Hello, everybody, and happy Passover. We are in a special podcast today, trying to understand, maybe to summarize, at least for the time being, the recent development, the recent escalation that began with the riots in the Temple Mount and continued with rocket launching from South Lebanon and from the Gaza Strip, and then an Israeli retaliation in the Gaza Strip and in South Lebanon as well. Are we talking about a regional system? What is exactly the role of Hezbollah in this regard? What is the Iranian role, and how Hamas perceives the events? We are here together with Orna Mizrahi, and we would like to have your insights, Orna, with regard to South Lebanon, Hezbollah, and maybe the Iranian interest in this regard, and then we will turn to the Palestinian arena. So please, Orna.
Thank you, Kobi. I think that as you present all the time, Hamas is the main player, but not only. And we have to look at with the broader picture. We have to pay attention for what's going on in the Shiite axis and to the other players. I think that the Iranian role and the Hezbollah role is there, and they are part of what was going on yesterday. Although the one that was acting was the Hamas on both arenas, on the north and on the south. And the big question is how much Hezbollah knew about it, how much Hezbollah is involved in it. I think it's irrelevant question because it comes from Lebanon. Hezbollah is the most prominent factor in Lebanon now and in South Lebanon. So we have to look at Hezbollah as the main actor that we have to retaliate to. Although what the IDF has decided to do was to target only Hamas. It was a very mild, moderate retaliation, targeting 3, something like that, of Hamas targets, and not doing anything about Hezbollah. I can understand why it was like this, because of the fact that we are in the Passover holiday. Everybody is on vacation, and the people of Israel need some silence, and so it's a way to closure this cycle of violence. But I think it's not enough, and we have to do more about it in the future, after thinking about the real strategy, how to deal with building again the deterrence that we have on the northern front.
Thank you, Orna. I see things a bit differently, mainly with regard to timing, because in the Israeli or under the Israeli conditions, there is never a right timing, okay? And all the time we have very good excuses why it is the bad timing, and therefore we prefer to contain the situation. I think that we have reached to the stage that it becomes much more dangerous to continue containing the situation. And I think that we have to understand that we are talking about a regional system which is composed of some subsystems, where the Palestinian subsystem and Hamas subsystem, and there is an organizing rationale. And although we can consider Hamas as an Iranian proxy, I think that Hamas is also an independent player that has a strategic goal, which is at the end of the day to gain a full control over the Palestinian system, be it the PLO and the Palestinian Authority as well. And Hamas has prepared very carefully the event, and Hamas works at least in the last 2 years or so, from May 21, on building several fronts as a terror fist against Israel, where the trigger is always East Jerusalem, the Temple Mount. They understand pretty well the sensitivity of this site, not only for the Palestinians in the West Bank or in the Gaza Strip, but for the Palestinian civilians of Israel as well, and for the entire Islamic world. And we saw what were the consequences, the ramifications all over the Islamic and the Arabic world because of the riots in the Temple Mount yesterday. And they prepared themselves. They prepared all the means in the Temple Mount. They prepare all the means also by using incitements for many months, and therefore I think that there is no direct relation to the domestic situation in Israel in this regard. Even without our domestic problems, it would have been done and realized, because they prepare themselves towards the Ramadan, which is the most sensitive era or the most sensitive time for the Muslims, for the Palestinians. And eventually we understand that launching 34 rockets from South Lebanon is not something which is done in unprepared manner, okay? It was prepared. And I think that we have to understand that we have reached to the stage that we have to tackle the Hamas threat, and we have to tackle the military capacities of Hamas, because the military capacities of Hamas are, I would say, the central bone or the main basis of Hamas political strength, not only in the Palestinian arena, but in the regional arena as well. And we see that Hamas thinks regionally, and Hamas is a very important and essential component in the regional system. And if we want to tackle the regional system, and if we want to tackle effectively the Palestinian arena, we have to tackle effectively Hamas. And to tackle effectively Hamas means to deal with the military capacities of Hamas. To deal with the military capacities of Hamas, it means to fight Hamas. And we are in the time, and we cannot use the excuse of the wrong timing in this regard. And I think that Israel has to think very seriously about changing the rules of the game in this regard. Stop containing the situation and tackling Hamas threat and weakening Hamas dramatically from the political point of view by tackling its military capacities. And if we will not be able doing that, we will find ourselves dragged to an attrition war. And actually, we are in an attrition war.
We are,
at least since last March 22, we are facing a terror campaign that was launched by Iranian motivation at the first beginning by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which is a pure Iranian proxy. But Hamas joined the campaign later on, and today the cycles have broadened, and many Palestinians who are not necessarily affiliated with Hamas or with the Palestinian Islamic Jihad are participating, actively participating in this terror campaign. And I think that Israel cannot tolerate such an attrition war, not vis-a-vis the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, not vis-a-vis Hamas, and not vis-a-vis the Iranian motivation to drag Israel to such an attrition war. So I think that we are in the right time, in the right moment to change the strategic direction and to change the rules of the game.
Yeah, but not just towards the Hamas, also towards the northern arena. I agree with you that, as I said before, that Hamas is the main player. But I think that what is happening serves the interest both of Iran and Hezbollah. Iran is in a campaign against Israel. Israel is retaliating and doing what we are doing in Syria and other places, and they feel as if they need something to happen here against Israel. And I think it's what Hamas is doing serves their interests, and it goes the same with the Hezbollah. Hezbollah again, they want to enhance their deterrence towards Israel, the deterrence equation, and what's happening serves them. And anyway, what was happening from the northern front is exceptional, and I think it needs to be dealt separately from the Hamas issue, from the Palestinian arena. Needs a response, a military response that will change the situation, and we will not have another such attacks as we have seen yesterday from the northern front.
So there is a sort of an agreement between of us, and I think that if Hamas, following your last sentences, is a component which was leveraged by Hezbollah and Iran, okay, we understand that this component actually strengthens the regional system and enables Hamas and Hezbollah to leverage their interests vis-a-vis Israel, and therefore, in order to weaken the regional system, we have to weaken Hamas. And weakening Hamas is not by talking with Hamas, not by appeasing Hamas, but on the contrary, but fighting Hamas and destroying their military capacities. And I think that this is the moment that we are in, be it today or next week or in the right timing, going back to the beginning of our conversation, but it should be done. And I think that continue containing the situation vis-a-vis Hamas will be found as a strategic failure or strategic mistake that will strengthen the regional system, that will enable Hezbollah and Iran to use Hamas as a leverage or in order to leverage their interests vis-a-vis Israel. We will finalize here, and we hope that we will have happy Passover and calm days.
And good news.
And only good news. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Kobi. Thank you.